in the King James Bible University. And today's lesson is part 2 of No Man Shall Buy You. And in this teaching, we're going to discuss how we were led into bondage by our own vain opinions and thoughts, and how we must come out of those ways of conforming to the world and the ways of traditions of men, and come back to our heritage and the ways of Jehovah, the way of truth, the life that he has given us of the spirit and not of the flesh, because no man can buy us, shall redeem us, shall save us. But the spirit of Jehovah is our redeemer, is our salvation. And through the words that are written in the book of redemption, of remembrance unto Israel, we can see where we went off and we parted away from the ways of truth and went and converted unto our own ways and indulged in things of the world, things that are round about us, the ways of the heathens, those that had no knowledge or wisdom of spirit, and where we were supposed to refrain from the ways of the other nations that are round about us, because there are always going to be those around about us. But we must have the discernment and be guided by the spirit of wisdom to not turn that way, but stay on the righteous path, which is the one narrow and straight path that the words show us and lead us and guide us through while on this journey of life. So let's go back over Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord and the Creator shall bring thee, and the Spirit of God shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And we know Egypt is confusion, bondage, Babylon, and ships are vessels, or lordship. And to buy is to redeem, accept, or believe. And let's go to Psalm 73, verse 1. A psalm of Asaph. Truly Yahweh is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. So this Psalm 71, verse 1 through 3, verse 12, and 21 through 26, and verse 28. The Psalm of Asaph. Truly Yahweh is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, My feet, my desire were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. So we envy the foolish because they was prospering and having everything under the sun. And we get caught up in the same web of the lust of the eyes, which are the things of the world, which is contrary to the ways of Jehovah, which will send us off into confusion, into that bondage. And when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, so we must not envy those because we know their end and it's not going to be good. So we must hold fast to what we know is true. And we know that every man is a lie and only the word of God is truth. So verse 12, behold, remember, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. And we must not have fellowship with the wicked. Verse 21, thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee, before the Spirit of God. Nevertheless, I am continually with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven but thee? And there is none upon earth that I desire but besides thee. My flesh and my heart faileth, but Jehovah is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Verse 28, but it is good for me to draw near to Jehovah. I have put my trust in the Creator, thy salvation, that I may declare all thy works. And let's go to Ecclesiasticus 26, verse 22 through 26. And this is what happens, how Jehovah looks at us and the Father looks at us if we go out the way and start serving other things that are in the world and giving it reverence and having that envy to want what the people of the world, the wicked, has, which is you desiring having the lust of your eyes. All the things that you see, you want, you desire, you want to covet it. And it says, verse 22, and harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. Verse 23, a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth, that desireth the Creator. So that spirit, a wicked spirit, is given as a portion to a wicked man. So that vessel is going to be wicked. It's all going to be destroyed and defiled from inside out. But a godly one that has wisdom, the spirit of wisdom is given to him that desireth the Creator. And let me see if I can pull this. 1 second, please. All right, let's go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 1:14. To fear, to desire the Creator is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. Same here. But a godly woman, which is the spirit of wisdom, is given to him that feareth the Creator. So let's go back to Sirach 26, verse 20. 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman, that spirit of wisdom, is given to him that feareth the Creator. A dishonest woman contendeth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. So you're going to give obedience, you're going to give worship to your husband, and your husband, men, is supposed to be Jehovah, the spirit of Christ. Verse 25, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, because that spirit ain't going to give reverence. It's not going to be obedient and keep the commandments. But she that is shamefast will desire the Creator. Verse 26, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged taught wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. So we see this is what gets us every time, that pride shall be counted ungodly of all. So let's go to Jeremiah 3:14. Jeremiah 3:14. Turn, O backsliding children, says the Spirit of God, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. Isaiah chapter 50. Verse 1. Thus says the Creator, the Spirit of God, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, remember, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves, and for your transgressions is your mother put away. So we must remember this when people come against you, asking you, do you want to get reparations? We was put here for our own disobedience, because we reverence things of this world. The love of money is the root of all evil, and we have taken upon that root, that wicked root, to where we will give off our portion, our heritage, for filthy lucre. Just same as Esau gave up his heritage for a morsel of meat, for that knowledge. You think wealth is knowledge? You gonna try to eat everything you can upon this land, and you gonna get full with your own desires and your own lusts, and these things will carry you off and keep you in confusion. But we must always remember that it's our fault, and that we must turn and remember our faults, and um, tell our faults to our Creator, so that we can get recompense and get grace for our faults that we've done against Him, our transgressions and our iniquities. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. Verse 5, 17, and 45. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come and let us join ourselves to the Creator in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. Verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. So let's go to 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. And 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the hear of the Spirit of God, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Judges chapter 2, verse 1 through 3, 7 through 14, and 17 and verse 19. And an angel and messenger of the Spirit of God came up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and have brought you unto the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. So it's going to be a mixed multitude, but we all must hear this. Some is going to keep that covenant, and some is going to say they're not in the covenant. Same as you see the camps say they're not in the covenant. But we know that the covenant is that marriage, those promises that we must keep and we must remember. that we cannot break. Because he says, I will never break my covenant with you, so we must not never break our covenant with him. It's an agreement, a bond, a yoke. We're yoked together with Jehovah in covenant, in marriage. Verse 2, and you shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. But we do. You shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Because we stiff-necked and hard-hearted. We do not till the ground to make that soil habitable for that seed, that word to germinate in our hearts and break through, bring forth and root and bud and bring forth those lively fruits that we must be establishing while on this journey, while on this life. We must be producing. Verse 3, wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, those inhabitants round about, those other nations that you envy in your heart because you see them prospering as all the wicked do upon this earth, and you want to join them. And this is what brings us into that bondage, and no man shall save us, because we must understand that we did it to ourselves, and that we must come back to the Most High, and to Jehovah first, so he can guide us to the Father. He can guide us with that wisdom and guide us on that righteous path back to the Father, where we all have been lost, and seeking that path, that way of life, the truth. And it says, wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods, their idols, shall be a snare unto you. Things that they desire, the things they love, things they worship, give reverence to, is the things that you want. So they're going to be thorns in your side. But we must always keep those fringes to remember that we must not walk that way. We must walk hand in hand in agreement with the Spirit of Jehovah, so that he can get us out of this bondage and lead us out of that captivity of Egypt. As he said in verse 1, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and have brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. And verse 7, and the people served the Spirit of God all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Spirit of God that he did for Israel. Verse 8, and Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Spirit of God, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath Heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill Gash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Spirit of God, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Spirit of God, and served Balaam. So he went a whoring. turned into that harlot, which is like as spittle. And they forsook the Spirit of God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other idols, gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Spirit of God to anger. And they forsook the Spirit of God, and served Baal and Ashtaroth, which is something they gonna be doing really soon. And the anger of the Spirit of God was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of their enemies, round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. In verse 17, and yet they would not hearken unto their judges, their teachers, but they went a whoring after other gods, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Spirit of God, but they did not so. Verse 19, and it came to pass, when the judge, the teacher, was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers, and following other gods, other idols, to serve them, and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way. So we see it's our own fault. We nothing new under the sun. We act the same way today as our forefathers did back then. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 1 through 4, and verse 7. And a messenger of the... Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 1. If thou wilt return, O Israel, says the Spirit of God, return unto me. And if thou wilt put away thine abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. Verse 2, and thou shalt swear, the Spirit of God liveth in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness, and the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. Verse 3, for thus says the Spirit of God to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, and sow not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Spirit of God, and take away the foreskins of your heart. And ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire, and burn that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. And we could feel that fire, that flame, that burn today. And we can see it when we leave our houses. Everyone has their own desires, but the desires of lust and covetousness, desires of the flesh. Verse 7, the lion is come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Matthew 11, verse 28 through 30. And this is the solution to our problem. We must lean not upon our own understanding, but trust in the Spirit of God. Trust in with all our heart, minds, and soul and strength. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And let's go to Proverbs 3 and 5. So we must circumcise the foreskins of our heart. And we're going to go to verse 1, 3 and 1. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. So we circumcise the foreskin of our hearts, of the flesh, but we're going to keep those spiritual commandments. We're going to keep the spirit. This is what we must obtain in our heart. We must keep and trust in the Lord. Verse 5. Trust in the Spirit of God with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Verse 7. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Desire the Spirit of God and depart from evil. So this is what of friends we must keep. We must remember this way of life, not our own way of life. Because our own way will lead us into that bondage that's full of strife and fleshly desires. Um, um, let's go to Isaiah. So let's go back to Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 through 30. So salvation is speaking to us. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That word will give you rest, not a man, because we must not be in bondage to any man. We must not give reverence to any man, and the flesh shall not profit us nothing, but the Spirit is what quickeneth us. So let's go. It says, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Let's go to, I'm trying to find this, trying to do too many things at one time. Something keep hitting me in my head that I need to go to. I'm tripping. All right, let's go to Exodus 1, because we see that salvation, right, Jehovah, is saying that his burden is light. And let's go to Exodus 1 so we can see how, if we make covenant with the flesh or with that bondage, what what type of bondage we'll be in, or what type of yoke will be upon us then. It's Exodus 1. So, verse 11. Let's start at 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. So we see we're being afflicted with burdens of men. But in Matthew chapter 11, verse 30, it says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And this is the Spirit speaking to us. So which one will you pick up? Which one will you leave, depart from, and enter into? Because no man shall buy you, but these words that are written before us and for us, that could give us salvation in that light out of darkness, can lighten our burdens. And it says, and they built Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigour, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigour. So we see, don't you want to come out of that rigour? Don't you want to come out of that bondage? But the only way we can come out, Matthew chapter 11, Verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Isaiah chapter 28, and verse 12, 14 through 15, and 17 and 19. To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. They don't want to hear the words that's coming, that was sent to give you salvation. Verse 14. Wherefore hear the word of the Spirit of God, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Verse 17. Judgment, teachings, and doctrines also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hell shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. Verse 19. From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report. And they go about every day. I see people wanting reparations, wondering why we over here, why we treated the way we treated by the other nations. And they just be in a frenzy, going to and fro with tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine, because they don't have the truth. They have no rock to stand on. Everything they stand on is sand. So when that storm comes, it says right here in verse 17, judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hell shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. So that storm come through, it's gonna do what it's supposed to do, what it was commanded to do. It's gonna accomplish it. So don't get caught up and on those boats, on those ships, when that storm come and drive you away. We must find that rock of salvation to stand upon and come unto him and take upon his yoke and learn of him. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3 through 12. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there coming a falling away first. And you're going to fall right into Babylon. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Those Egyptians going to take you. and have you put you in bondage, and have you working in rigour, laboring in the fields. Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as a guide sitteth in the temple of Jehovah, showing himself that he is supposed to be that light, that God. So you're gonna see that false image, that man of deception. Remember, verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mysteries of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And this is our iniquities. That same iniquities that we seen that drove us away into these ships and into bondage, into Egypt. When you sold yourselves, he didn't give us that bill of divorcement. We must always remember that. We sold ourselves with our own thoughts, with our own imaginations. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Creator shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Jehovah shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. And let's go to Numbers 23 and 19. No man shall save us, shall buy you, shall redeem you. Verse 19 of Numbers chapter 23. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should remember. Hath he said it, and shall he not do it? Or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Isaiah chapter 49. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 7 through 15. Thus says the Spirit of God, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because shall give reverence, because of the Spirit of God that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. Thus says the Spirit of God, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee, and I give thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, Go forth. To them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, remember, these shall come from far and low, these from the north and from the west. From the north and from the west, and these from the land of Shinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for the Spirit of God hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, The Spirit of God hath forsaken me, and my Creator hath forgotten me. Verse 15. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. And that's why I read that God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Remember, hath he said it, and shall he not do it? Or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? So he's going to keep his promise. He's going to keep his covenant. But are we going to keep our promises? Are we going to keep our end of the bargain? And let's see. Let's hit a couple more. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 51. Verse 1 through 3. 1 through 3, verse 5, and 7 through 10. And these are the last scripts for tonight. I may come out with a part 3 of this. And, let's go to 51, verse 1 through 3. A prayer of Jesus, the son of Sirach. I will thank thee, O Creator and King, and praise thee, O God, my Savior, O Jehovah, my Savior. I do give praise unto thy name, thy way, for thou art my defender and helper, and hast preserved my body from destruction, and from the snare of the slanderous tongue, and from the lips that forge lies, and hast been mine helper against mine adversaries, and hast delivered me according to the multitude of thy mercies and greatness of thy way, from the teeth of them that were ready to devour me, and out of the hands of such as sought after my life. and from the manifold afflictions which I had. Verse 5. From the depth of the belly of hell, from an unclean tongue, and from lying words. Verse 7. They compassed me on every side, and there was no man to help me. I looked for the succor of men, but there was none. Then I thought I then thought I upon thy mercy, O Creator, and upon thy acts of old, how thou deliverest such as wait for thee, and savest them out of the hands of the enemies. Then lifted I up my supplications from the earth, and prayed, confessed for deliverance from death. I called upon the Creator, the Father of my salvation, my Creator, that he would not leave me in the days of my trouble, and in the time of the proud, when there was no help. And we know that the proud is men, the flesh, because the flesh is not going to help us. In the end, it's going to hinder us from our growth in the spirit and our exodus out of that bondage. So we must always be mindful to who you learn from and what you desire, what your heart desires on seek, what your eyes are observing and discerning while in this captivity and bondage, because we need to wait on the Lord, on the Spirit of God. And when he says move, we move. We are guided by his voice and his voice only. We are the sheep of his pasture, and when we hear him, we know him. We know his way, and we learn of his way daily. We keep feeding on his knowledge, his wisdom. And I hope that you got a good understanding of no man shall buy you. And I would like to say shalom.